What was your dad like when you were a child?
Well, Mitri was a very complicated guy. Most of the time he was very quiet, but he could erupt in a minute.
Hmm.
I always sensed that he was trying to do the right thing, but was overshadowed by a very dominant wife. He wasn't a lovey-dovey type and could be kind of cold in a lot of ways. His early life, I assume, was very difficult, and somehow he found his way to America from Albania. I always felt that he loved us, but in his own quiet way. The main problem I have, and still have to this day, is there was no penetrating to how he really felt about things. He had some strong views on some things that still disturb me. He did carry a lot of ill towards many, and it could be uncomfortable at times. Yet he had his moments and could be hysterical in a lot of ways. In the early 60s, there was talk of reparations from the German government. And he and my Aunt Victoria went to Albania expecting a financial windfall. But things came back, and I imagine things didn't go too smoothly. I do remember that he bought me a switchblade knife shaped like a pistol. I played with that thing for a day or so, and it disappeared. My mother was at work again. In the 50s, things like attending sporting events that were not high on his list. I don't think he felt comfortable that I had a strong relationship with Jack and Mono, but he never complained. You just got that sense. One thing I remember is that you may not have a lot, but he always had food on the table and clothes on our backs. He was a tremendously hard worker and felt that providing necessaries to his family took precedence over everything else. He was strongly tied to our church, insisting that we never live too far away. Easter was his big week of the year, and he looked forward to being with his buddies to do the responses during liturgy. And that's the happiest we ever saw him all year. Nothing mattered more to him than family. Every Sunday we were at somebody's house. Birthdays, name days, any excuse get together. And he would shine when it was our turn to have guests at our house. He was just a tremendous cook. I just found out his great-grandson in Albania, he was a chef. Love of food and cooking must be genetic. He worked nights and my mother worked days. And I can remember him making sure we had dinner ready before my mother got home. He was very political when it came to Albania. I remember all the discussions about what was going on in the homeland. His big event every year was a September picnic in Millbury. And he said it was great to see all the men drinking raki and singing old Albanian folk songs and whiffing down shish kebab. He would talk about the gathering for weeks. Of course, there was a lot of heated exchanges, but they were always civil. My biggest regret is that I never concerned him to talk about his early life and our family in Albania. Sadly, when I was 18, his life came to a tragic end, which I'll never be able to deal with.
Do you want to talk any more about that?
Hmm?
Do you want to talk any more about that?